of a mishmash of a video today, but it is West Ham news, it is West Ham gossip, but it's sort of prompted a little sort of nagging thought in the back of my mind that's not worried me. It's not a concern. It's not like we're fighting relegation or anything like that. But it's just something in the back of my mind that I think West Ham as a club could probably do better. I think we're a little bit behind our rivals on this, and it's probably got to do with scouting. It's probably something that's easily rectified, but it's something that I think requires a bit of bravery and a bit of a gamble. It sort of keeps hitting me in waves, if you like. The Raphinha transfer to Chelsea, the talk of us being interested in Danjuma, even Mandalorian Broja is another one. There are numerous examples of it, and I'm pretty sure after I've gone explaining it, you'll be listed in the comments below other examples of it. And it's basically getting in there late. And when I say late, I don't mean missing out on an established player to another club. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is noticing the player early and recruiting them early. Look, we're interested in Raphinha. Now, Raphinha has been known to a lot of people for a long time. I actually remember my son signing him on Football Manager, for instance, right? I think, was he? I think he might have been at Sporting Lisbon. I think he might have been. I might have that wrong. Excuse me if I do have that wrong. Everybody knew he was a talent. Everybody knew he was coming through. But for us to be interested, we basically registered our interest at the point when he was ripping it up in the Premier League. We need to get in there earlier than that if we're going to get these players, because we often say this on Hammers Chat. I say it, Gio says it. You get one chance to get this player. If you get him later than that, it's too late. It's that point where a player is 10, 15 million... rather than actually when he's proven himself and he becomes 50 million. It's a gamble. Do you know what? We did it with Jared Bowen. So it's not like we're incapable of doing it. But I do think we tend to go for players once they've reached that sort of threshold. It sort of comes to the fore a little bit with Danjuma as well, where there was a really good opportunity to get him when he left Bournemouth. It's quite clear, if you hopefully watched the Danjuma video the other day, he likes it in England. His family still remain in England, speaks very fondly of it. So does his agent. I think he's enjoyed a year in Spain, but he's ready to come back. We could have got him from Bournemouth. Not only could we have got him from Bournemouth, there was a point when we were interested. We were scouting him. This wasn't somebody that was unknown to us, but for some reason, we didn't pull the trigger. Then it goes on, he goes to Villarreal, plays really well, and rather than picking him up for whatever, I seem to remember, I think he moved to Villarreal for something like 20 million euros, but I definitely remember a time when we might have been able to get him for about 15 million quid, right? Something like that. Rather than doing that, it may well be that we wait a year and pay Villarreal £33 million to get him. That's a very expensive way of doing business when you think you've done the scouting, you've done the foresight. The gamble, it is a gamble, but you're going to save yourself an awful lot of money. And it takes me back to Raphinha, because we left it so late with Raphinha. Actually, look at the clubs that are interested, the clubs that have been chasing him. And it's sort of Arsenal, it's Chelsea. You're not going to get this player once those clubs become available. It actually looks like the bids was probably about on the money. I seem to remember Calvin Phillips doing a sort of derogatory tweet about... something along the lines of not bad for £50 million player, alluding to the fact that we might have bid £50 million for him. He's sort of going for that, so it's never about the money on this particular one. It was just about he'd become too good a player. We basically missed the boat. We missed our opportunity to sign him, and it's something I just feel we've got to get a lot better at. Otherwise, we're just going to be paying premium money for the finished article. We've got to get in there a little bit earlier. Now, funny enough, I said about Broja as well. For some reason, Southampton knew about him before we did, and that's why they got him on loan. Now, it turns out, actually, it looks as if we may get him anyway. You certainly look at what Chelsea are doing. They're going to look to try and recoup some money. They've had a pretty bad deal with Lukaku, haven't they? They're just about to spend 50-odd million on Raphinha, who we just mentioned. But why did Southampton know a season earlier than we did? Again, it took him to have a really good game against us before we said, oh, hello, we're interested in this player. It was also, I do remember, maybe a season, was it last season, might be the season before last. Tariq Lamptey, who was playing really, really well for Brighton. Funny enough, they signed him from Chelsea as well. We had a look. We thought, oh, he's good. Maybe we might be interested in him. Why didn't we know about him before? I know the answer's scouting. But the answer to all of it is not scouting, if you know what I mean. There is also, some of the answer to it is us just not taking a risk because we've scouted Danjuma, as I said. He was known to us. It's not like the scouts hadn't identified him. And before I go any further, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, which you can download by clicking the link down below there or using that QR code. The OneFootball app will give you all the transfer gossip for West Ham. It will give you all the transfer information, whether we're genuinely interested in people, whether it's just paper talk, whether they're just rumours, whether it's bona fide solid news. It will put it all into one place for you, because what it does is when you sign up and you say you're a West Ham fan, it scours all the newspapers, all the generic Premier League and World Football websites for any West Ham news, and it puts it all into one place, delivers it to your phone. Best of all, the app is free. Click the link below and download it. So there are a number of these players that we are constantly missing out on, and I saw one today and put the right pair of glasses on. Now excuse me, I'm going to probably slaughter the bloke's name here. So I've just read this article. It says West Ham made late move for 15 million star, but he's joining Manchester United. West Ham reportedly tried to move to sign Feyenoord left back Terrell Malacia. Have I got that right? Probably not. But he's now headed for Manchester United himself. The young Dutchman has impressed in recent times, now looks to be closing on a £15 million deal to Man United. Fabrizio Romano has claimed West Ham were in the running until quite late on here, but Ham has also seen blah, 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 blah. It'll be interesting to see which alternatives emerge for the East London side. Now, that's not a great example of what I was saying, because clearly we're not moving for him too late. It's not like he's gone to a Premier League club and then we've realised that it's just Manchester United have come and he wants to move to Manchester United. Manchester United got a Dutch manager. I think that's slightly different, but I do believe it's really important we do this, and particularly when you look at some of the prices for the club, for the players that have finished article. I guess we were never going to get Calvin Phillips. He's going to Man City, established England international. The time to get Calvin Phillips was when he looked really promising when Leeds were in the Championship. That was the time to get Calvin Phillips. And the more I look at it, the more I think, well, hold on a second, we need to really start doing a lot better on this. Particularly, you look at the price of Ward-Prowse, who's obviously been heavily involved in the West Ham news and for bids recently. I'm not saying we could have got Ward-Prowse early. He's been at Southampton for a long, long time. It may well turn out that we've done it with a Gerd. It may well turn out that we've got him earlier, rather than him going to a big club and then us trying to sign him. We certainly didn't do it with Kurt Zuma. I just think it's something we've got to get a lot better at doing, rather than constantly trying to sign a finished article. I know there'll be a counter argument. Ben Rama wasn't a finished article and it didn't work out. Souček certainly wasn't a finished article, but I think there's enough of it that I just wish that if I had to put it down to one thing, is a year earlier. I think that's what we got to start to do. We got to start to try and buy these players a year earlier than we currently do, and get them at a good price. I'm sort of, there's one other player who I'm thinking of who's moved relatively recently. Cucurella. Everybody knew Cucurella is a lovely fella. That's not what I know. Everyone knew Cucurella was going to be a good player. But again, he goes to Brighton. We should have been making that transfer. We were in the market for the left back. He goes over there, and now he's a, 40, 50 million pound player. And you know they'll hold on for it, because that's just what Brighton do. They did the same with Ben White. They had their price, and that's it. We have to be doing that, because I heard that we were looking at him, and it's almost like comes over a place with Brighton. David Moyes says, "Oh, he's a good player. I wouldn't mind him." It's just an expensive way to build your squad. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow.